Hey everyone, I'm at a CIM conference in Montreal with Mary Jane Vince. So we're here for a couple of days with a big mining expo, and I thought it'd be a good time to catch up with Mary Jane and talk about one of the articles that she's recently written around the proactive use of ICAM. Thanks for joining me. Quick background for everyone. Let's talk a bit about you. Who are you? Where you come from? What's your background? What's your history?
Right. I'm originally from Botswana, as you can tell from the accent, definitely not Australian or North American, but born and bred in Botswana, lived on a diamond mine for a number of years with my parents both working for De Beers. I started my career in mining in the early 2000s, working for an Australian company, all gold mining, all open pit mining, started in health and safety. Had the opportunity to work through both greenfields and brownfields operations through the entire life cycle of mining, from construction, commissioning, through to operation, as well as closure and rehabilitation, handing land back to governments after rehabilitation is complete. So I had the opportunity to work through everything from a health and safety perspective, but have also had the opportunity to work as a pit superintendent for some time, so getting quite a hands-on experience of what's actually going on in mining.
Awesome. And when was your first exposure to ICAM?
I did my training with Jerry Gibb in 2009, as well as Steve Horn while I was working in Botswana. So had the opportunity again to use the process for a number of years before starting work with SafetyWise in 2012.
So what is it about ICAM? What is it that you'd like about it? Why do you think it's such a good tool to use?
For me, from my experience, it's been the fact that you are able to use it no matter where you are. You don't need access to the internet, you don't need some fancy tools. A pen and a piece of paper and your little pocket guide is more than enough to do an effective investigation. So you're able to go out into the field no matter where you are and do a very effective investigation if you follow the process.
For sure. We've discussed over the last couple of days that we've been here, there seems to be a resistance at times for people to undertake investigations. Why do you think that is?
From my experience from a North American perspective, it's mainly due to the fact that there is still a little bit of that fear from individuals, employees working, that there needs to still be a bit of a cultural shift in going from a punitive process to looking at the organization as a whole. So from an employee perspective, it's that there's a lot of blame on individuals. From an organization perspective, well, it's a lot easier to have the employee as the problem. It's easy to fix.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Do you think it's changing?
Absolutely. I've seen that especially over the last couple of years. There is a definite shift, but as with any cultural change, it's going to take time.
What's driving that change? Is that a legislative change? Is that the regulators, or is it just a different mindset that's coming in?
I don't think that it's a regulation change. The regulator is still fairly punitive at this point, but I think just over time, as industry as a whole is changing, that cultural change is starting to happen here. A little bit still behind some of the areas like Australia, but starting to catch up.
All right, so let's talk specific about this article that you wrote. Traditionally, ICAM has been seen as an investigative tool, so it's generally coming in post an incident and investigating. You wrote an article, a very good article. There's a tip there. Go and read it, and we'll put a link into the comments below. That you spoke about using ICAM proactively. So what exactly do you mean by using it proactively? Well,
let me take a step back and look at ICAM as a reactive tool first. So when you start your investigation, obviously you've had an incident occur, the organization has failed to prevent an adverse outcome. So by using the ICAM process, although it's reactive, we are able to look at where things went wrong, understand really why it went wrong, and we get better at putting controls in place to be proactive in the future so that we can be confident that we are reducing risk and preventing recurrence. So there is a proactive piece to that too. But if we look really as what I termed a pre-incident investigation, is you can use the exact same process to really get an understanding of how you are achieving good safety performance. Because you don't know what you don't know, and just because you haven't had an incident doesn't mean you're a safe organization. So by using this process, exactly how you would during an investigation, starting at the incident and working back through your defenses, your actions, conditions, and organizational factors, when you do a pre-incident investigation, you start at the organizational factors and you use a risk management approach, looking at what policies, standards, procedures do we have in place.
To prevent.
Yep. A future occurrence, or at least reduce risk around certain activities. So identify what the risks are, what some of your hazards are, and identify what do we currently have in place, what's missing that we should have. Then you would look at the next step in the ICAM, which is the conditions. What are the current conditions on our sites? How do these influence performance? What do we want to promote to ensure that we have safe and efficient task completion?
Yep.
On the individual and team actions, we look at things like day-to-day risk-based decision making, JSAs, take twos, take fives, ensuring that people are doing what they say they're going to do. And then lastly, looking at what is the last line of defense. So as an organization, if we have certain controls in place to be proactive, do we have another line of defense so that if somebody does make an honest mistake, if there is an error, we have a system that can either trap or mitigate those errors. So turning a a consequential event to a near miss, or taking a major incident and reducing the level of harm through those defenses. So it becomes like a closed loop system.
Yep.
When you have an incident, you can use ICAM and be reactive, work through the process to identify where you went wrong, and more importantly, why you went wrong. And then when you look at it from a proactive approach, you would use the same process but base it around your risk management model.
To us in the industry, it's probably self-explanatory, but why would anyone want to do it proactively? We have enough resistance doing it reactively. Now you want us to do it before something's even happened.
Well, firstly, you're going to save your company a lot of money, right? And really, at the end of the day, that's what's going to get a lot of decisions. Yes. Obviously, if you can be proactive and if you can really understand that it's not just luck that got us to this point, if we really understand what we are doing as an organization, we get better, we get more resilient towards adverse events. So it makes sense, not just from an employee perspective where we're all aiming for zero harm, but from a financial perspective, it allows for funds to be used in other areas of your business.
Sure, that's good. I appreciate that, appreciate the time. As I said earlier, we'll put a link to the article in the comments section of the video as well. Thanks for your time, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you.